So, and the question was about music and how to differentiate mainly in between Semba and Kizomba. So I'll try to make this simple because it's not as straightforward as we might think, but I'll try to keep it simple. So the first perspective that we have in between one and the other is themes. So Semba is about tradition, so its theme is going to be very spoken, and you can tell that by the singer's voice. It's talking to us rather than being melodious and singing. For that reason being, you will not find a lot of sensuality in Semba, and if it exists, it's more raw. While in Kizomba, you will find a feeling of emotion, of love, and you're like drawn into this emotion, and it's more sensual. The singer's voice is melodious, and the subjects discussed are usually from that emotions perspective rather than a day-to-day life or history or tradition or cultural perspective. Now let's go over to the instruments. The instruments are different. So in Semba we're gonna have, and so sorry about the noise, but I'll keep going because this needs to be done. So in Semba we're gonna have traditional instruments. In terms of the traditional instruments, one of the instruments that we will have that is very typical in Semba is the tikanza, or recu, or in English, guira. I believe that is guira. So this will give it's usually a wooden instrument with some cracks, and you can do that sound by having this motion. So this is one of the most typical instruments. The other one is going to be the drums, but in specific the ngoma drums. In nowadays, instead of the ngoma drums, you're going to have the conga drums. So the conga drums that you see a lot, for example, in Cuban music, is something that is mostly used in Semba. Doesn't mean that it's not used in Kizomba. We will get there because they can overlap from one genre to the other. And being that, for example, the way that you play the conga drums, if you go over to the drum kit and you play on the drum kit with the Semba pattern, then you start having Semba with instruments that belong to Kizomba, just because you are playing them in a pattern that belongs to Semba. But let's go over. So we have the ngoma drums or the conga drums. We're gonna have batuk, and we're gonna have puita, which is a friction drum, and even snare drums. But usually you're gonna have the wooden with the skin on top. You can also have, for example, djembe incorporated to it. Anything is possible, but it's giving more this earthy sound. Besides these instruments, we're gonna have as well others, like for example the berimbau, which you hear a lot in the Brazilian tradition, but in Angola it's called the ungu. So you can have also berimbau incorporated to Semba. It's possible. Besides this one, you're gonna hear a lot chocalho. So it's like this vase with seeds inside. And so when you rock it, it creates this deep sound of. So this is very typical in Semba. One of the things you're gonna have in Semba is like a confusion of sounds, of percussion, like a mix that you can't define very well. While in Kizomba, you're gonna have like a pointer, and this pointer will come from the drum bass. In Semba, you're gonna also have the acoustic guitars, the rhythmic guitars, and you're also gonna have nowadays the electronic guitar. But even in the electronic guitar, it's played with accents. So the guitar is not like melodious like in Kizomba. It's gonna almost like give accents, accentuate it, just like talking to you or telling a story. Also in Semba, you're gonna have, not all the time, but sometimes you can have accordion, but more a specific type, which is concertina. The accordion, whenever you hear an accordion or a harmonic in Semba, it goes back to the tradition from Rebita, because those are the main instruments that you're going to have incorporated into Semba. You can also hear cavaquinho and the small, like ukulele, and you can also hear the clarinet. But whenever you hear cavaquinho and clarinet in the samba, you think, oh, it might be samba, but it has flavors from coladeira. So there are typical instruments that will immediately point you off to a specific genre. In samba, the instruments that will point off immediately is the reco-reco, the ricanza, and it's the drums, the percussion. Those are the ones that will point it out, especially the conga drums. Now for kizomba, we're gonna have more modern instruments. So you're gonna have the electronic guitar, you're gonna have the keyboards, the musical keyboard, but especially the synthesizer is very common in kizomba. And you're gonna have the drum kit. So you have the drum kit with all the different drums, the plates, which is more of a modern instrument incorporated. You can also have other instruments like sax, nowadays also the piano, you know, whatever you can add to it. The thing about kizomba is gonna always have a drum bass pointing out the beat of the song. Now, if you take these instruments, and for the ones that were in Miami, you will take Don Kika's concert. He had the conga drums there, but the majority of the time, he did not use it. He used the instruments that are very particular to kizomba, and even when he played samba, he just recreated the pattern of samba, which is the accents part. So let me play here a few songs so we can start listening to music and see and hearing those patterns in the music. Like for example here, let's take a song that is clearly samba. Here, the voice is not melodious, it's talking to you. Then when you drop the voice and try to hear the things in the song, you're gonna hear the percussion. So you're gonna start hearing a lot of things that are so mixed in the song that cannot clearly let you hear the bass. And some samba do, of course, has the bass into it to mark the music. The guitar accents. So it's very choppy. So it always has these flavorful elements in the music. So let's take another song and have some elements defined. So this was a song that has been creating a lot of doubt recently. And it creates doubt because of its BPM, is one of the factors. Another factor is that it does have the bass lining up the song, but the bass is not tum, it's tum, 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 tum. But it has a percussion element in the back that throws us off a little bit to the samba. So here we're gonna have kizomba. His voice is a little bit spoken, but it leaves a trace of melody at the end. The instruments that you hear, drum kits, guitars, keyboards, all belong to kizomba. So for the ones that are used to hearing kizomba, you hear the song and you think this is clearly kizomba. The percussion is naturally and soft, and you can hear boom, 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 boom. It has a special feeling to it because of the emotions that it brings, the flavor that it brings because of those emotions. Okay, so let me play another song. Melody. Drum kits, keyboard.
Devagar, devagar.
Even though it sounds like he's talking, and he starts talking, the instruments in the clearly defined bass, even though there's a trace of percussion there, like but the bass is clearly defined. Here becomes more melodious.
Passou-se o tempo e tu não alcançaste os teus objetivos.
So here we're gonna have kizomba. Then we can have other songs that can clearly point us on one direction or the other. This one, I wouldn't say that would throw us off. Because once it starts, the percussion immediately gives us all the flavor from samba. If you don't understand the lyrics, you can feel like they're having a conversation with one another. Besides this percussion elements and the team elements incorporated into it, we have a cavaquinho flavor in the back and a clarinet. These are typical from coladeira. So here we can see that we have other elements that are brought into samba. So for us to say kizomba or samba, more important than that is to identify which instruments you have in the music. What are the patterns that those instruments add to the music, and what kind of emotion does it bring on to the music. So samba, it's about containment. Sad is never too sad, happy is never too happy. You contain the music. And kizomba is about playing with emotion. So in kizomba you will have a lot of those melodious, emotional tones added into the music. So I hope this helps a little bit in terms of the doubts. What I would suggest is for you to find songs that you have doubts about, that you don't exactly know which genre it is. Post it below the video and let's chat. Let's communicate about what we listen in the songs and why it points out on one more